Hi guys, it's Jack from Left from Head to Toe, and I thought I would walk you through some of the trickier things or things that I may not have explained perfectly when I was writing out the pattern for the crocheted roses for Mother's Day. So here's one that's kind of done. I haven't sewn it together yet, but both of the pieces are completed. Here's the flower. And I've sewn it together, and then here's the stem piece. So I wanted to go over the stem piece just because I may not have explained it perfectly because I made the pattern up and had to kind of figure it out myself. So I wanted to make sure that I explain a couple of the little tricks that I had done with it, so that you guys could just understand. And if you had any questions, if you have questions, just send me an email or a message on Facebook or Twitter. Okay, so with these, I use a chainless double crochet foundation row. I find it whips up just a little bit faster, and I will send you a link to a good tutorial on how to do that. There's some good video tutorials on it, so I don't feel like I need to do one, but if you want me to walk you through it, then again, just send me an email. Okay, so this is a completed stem. So we have the stem and then a loop for the flower, and then we have just like the little disc for the base that then gets sewn around the base of the rose to just kind of make it really nice. And because it's all yarn, infection control and the respiratory team and the cardiac team don't have an issue with these being in the baby's beds, and they can be washed completely because there's nothing that can't go in the washing machine, which is kind of perfect. So, all right, so I have done my stem. So this is 50 stitches, 50 double crochets, so either chaining, I think it's 54, and then starting double crochets in the third stitch from the end, and you end up with 50 double crochets if that's not exactly perfect. To be honest, it's the stem. If it's an extra stitch long, it's not vital to the pattern. So then this is the trickier part, because we want to make it have kind of that dimension, so it's kind of like a little straw. So what I've done is I take my double crochet, and then I'm going to go through the top chain on, so the chain, let's call this the inside, on the inside of the stem. So let's see, so I'm going to go through the front of the chain on the first stitch up there, and then I'm going to go through that bottom chain and the front of it here. So I have two, I have my loop from the beginning, I have the front of the chain on the top and the front of the chain on the bottom, and I yarn over and pull through the two chain pieces, and then I single crochet and pull through again. So again, I go through the top chain, the front chain on both top and bottom. So you can see here, I'm not going through all the way, I'm just going through that top piece. I'll try and get a better. So again, so if I'm here I finished my first one, I'm just going to go through one side. My other side is still there, one side, and the same on the bottom. I'm just going through that front piece, yarn over, pull through, and single crochet. So I do that up the entire stem. Now we do that for 35 stitches, okay? And then we're going to create the leaf, and the leaf is really, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's at 34 stitches, that's fine. What you want to do is just you want to just fold your piece over, and then let's see if I can get this long enough, and then just throw in a few slip stitches to attach it. It's easier for us than creating a leaf and sewing it on, and that's just one more thing that might unravel in the wash, or that, you know, babies could get their fingers stuck into. there's so many things that we just have to be mindful of when we're talking about taking products into the neonatal ICU. So we really need to just be careful about what we're doing. Okay, so if this were farther up and my leaf, I would just fold it over. Okay, and then I have a couple of chains here, and you just push through a chain. Let's find a better one. So you just, sometimes it's a little tricky because we've crocheted through half of it but not the other half, or wherever it is, and just pull through, slip stitch it. I usually do 2 just to make sure it's really attached. I do the other one the other way through, you know, a chain that I haven't used yet, slip stitch, and then I go back to my crocheting through the top and bottom. Okay, and you do that all the way up until the top, and now I can walk you through the top. So the top, we want to make a disc, like we were going to be making a top-down hat, where we would start with a loop and then double crochet into the loop and slip stitch it together, and then another one. So this, I skip the last stitch. So I'm not sure if you can see here, I've skipped my last stitch so that I have just a bit of a bigger base. So what the pattern says is we're gonna crochet 5 double crochets into 4, we're gonna find 4 spots to put 5 double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm just going to go into what is the front of the bottom chain that I just did my single crochet through. So I'm going to double crochet 5 times there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm not super fast today. And 5. Okay, so I have 5, I need 20. So then I'm going to go into the next logical spot. So there's a hole here, so I'm going to use that. Now make sure if you have an end, it's going on the inside of the disc so that we can tie it off later and we don't have to thread it through. So 5 double crochets here. So now I have 10. I have half of my disc that I need in order to create the top of that, the base of the flower, to attach the flower to it. So then there's another kind of logical hole right here. Sorry, I'll try and show you better. So I have 5 here, 5 here, and now I see this little hole here kind of opens itself up. This is part of the reason why I don't do the last double crochet, or the last, I don't do that last single crochet through top and bottom. So 5 double crochet here, 2, 3, oh, my yarn's knotted, sorry. 4, and 5. Okay, and then again, another hole has just kind of opened itself up, so we can see it right there. So 5 more double crochets, and we have our 20 double crochets to create that disc. Oh, that went wrong. Let's try this stitch again. 1. Oh. 2, 3, 4, my 5. Okay, so now I have my 20, and I'm going to do a slip stitch into this top the same way that I would if I was going to make a hat. And then I do 2 double crochets and then I double crochet into the same spot that I just did my slip stitch. Double crochet, and then two, and then double crochets, one in each of the next. One and one. And then two double crochets in the next spot. Sorry, not in my yarn. Two double crochets, one and two, and then one in each and one in each. Two double crochet, one and one. And then you just continue this all the way around. If you end up with two double crochets at the end, it's not a big deal. We just want to make sure that we're covering this space properly. It's going to end up being folded in a little bit on itself once we stitch it anyways, but it creates a nice base for the flower to sit in. And again, I did both of these. It takes between 15 and 20 minutes to make the flower, and again, maybe another 10 minutes to make the stem. And then I just make all of them at once. I have about 50 flowers now in a bin that I have to sew together, and then stems to sew together. So then again, once we get to the edge, we just find the end stitch, slip stitch through, and cut it off, pull it through, and you're good to go. So that's how we make this stem. I'll show you what the flower looks like, and then also just a little tip when we're working with the flower. So we have we've created V's with double crochets, and then each of our petals is in one of the V's with a single crochet in between the spaces. And we have 5 half double crochets for 3, and then 6 double crochets, 5 half double crochets, 8 double crochets, 5 half double crochets, 10 double crochet, 10 double crochet, and then 12 double crochet. So the 5 half double crochets that are kind of in between each pairing, or each one of those 3s, it just makes it so that the petals are spread out a little bit, and it's not, and it just creates a little bit of a fuller flower. What you need to make sure is that you'll notice your petals and your top chain, it folds in on one side. So one side you don't really see that chain that's created across the top, and one side you do. The chain across the top goes on the inside. So when we start at the 5 double crochets, we just fold it in on itself, and we start rolling so that that chain is going to disappear. I usually end up taking a double pointed knitting needle and just kind of skewering through the rows while I sew it up, and then I'll hopefully be able to show you. So here's the last double crochet for the foundation row, but this is where our last double crochet is for the petal. So we actually take the last double crochet for the foundation row and attach it, and then the last double crochet for the petal gets attached to the base as well. So it's just an extension of that foundation row. And then because the chains are going on the inside, our flower just kind of folds in on itself. If we were to do it the other way, then the petals would fan out, and it doesn't roll as nicely. So if you feel like you're fighting to roll it up, you're probably rolling it with the chains on the outside instead of the inside. And it just looks, it doesn't stay together, and then it looks more like rose and bloom, and you'll notice that the petals end up stacked on top of each other instead of around. So that is how the pattern is written out and some of the tips and tricks that I've figured out along the way of creating the pattern for the crocheted roses. If you have any questions, send me an email, tweet me, Facebook me, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter. Our general newsletters are going to start going out at the end of February. Thanks so much.